Chapter 3, Study Guide. Define the following and or answer the questions below. Scribe. A scribe is a person who copies out documents, especially one employed to do this. Printing was invented. So this would be someone that would handwrite documents. So a person who was a scribe was someone who had the job of copying documents through their own handwriting. Pictograph. A pictograph is a pictorial symbol for a word or phrase. Pictographs were used as the earliest known form of writing, examples having been discovered in Egypt and Mesopotamia from before 3000 BC. It's a pictorial representation of statistics on a chart, graph, or computer screen. So a pictograph is, instead of having letters or words, you have a picture. So an emoji would be a pictograph. Cuneiform. A cuneiform is a type of writing, cuneiform writing. Bronze. Bronze is a yellowish brown alloy of copper with up to 1/3 tin. So if you mix copper and tin together, it will make it stronger metal known as bronze. Stylus. Stylus is an ancient writing implement consisting of a small rod with a pointed end for scratching letters on wax-covered tablets and a blunt end for obliterating them. So a stylus is a writing utensil, like a very, very early pen or pencil. Sumer. Sumer was the southernmost region of ancient Mesopotamia. It's the modern-day Iraq and Kuwait, which is generally considered the cradle of civilization. The name comes from Akkadian, the language of the north of Mesopotamia, and means land of the civilized Kim. So Sumer, southernmost region of the ancient Mesopotamia map. Mesopotamia. Mesopotamia, from the Greek word meaning between two rivers, was an ancient region in the eastern Mediterranean, bounded in the northeast by the Zagros Mountains and in the southeast by the Arabian Plateau, corresponding to today's Iraq mostly, but also parts of modern-day Iran, Syria, and Turkey. Mesopotamia, meaning between two rivers. Sumeriad. The definition of Sumeriad is a climate or place that is partially arid or semi-dry and has less than 20 inches of rain each year. An example of a Sumeriad climate is the hot Sumeriad climate of the outback in Australia. So it's a land that's dry and only gets 20 inches of rain. Floodplain is an area of low-lying ground, which is next to a river, formed mainly of river sediments, and it's often subject to flooding. So it's a plain located next to a river where it floods. So it's a floodplain. Drought. Drought is a prolonged period of abnormally low rainfall, a shortage of water resulting from this. So when you go for a long time without rain, it's called a drought. Silt. Silt is fine sand, clay, or other material carried by running water and deposited as sediment, especially in a channel or harbor. So it's small clay or dirt that's been carried by water. Surplus. Surplus is an amount of something left over when requirements have been met, an excess of production or supply over demand. So you would have a surplus if you had extra stuff. Civilization. Civilization is the stage of human social development and organization that is considered most advanced. So civilization is a place where people are and they're doing advanced things. A city-state. A city-state is a city that with its surrounding territory forms an independent state. So a city-state is a city, and with its areas around it, that forms its own independent state. Ziggurat. It's in ancient Mesopotamia. It's a rectangular stepped tower, sometimes surmounted by a temple. Ziggurats are first attested in the late 3rd millennial BC and probably inspired the biblical story of the Tower of Babel. So it's a rectangular stepped tower. Polytheism. Polytheism is the belief in worship of more than one god. So poly means more, and theism means the worship of a god. So more than one god. It's religion that has more than one god. King. King is the male ruler of an independent state, especially one who inherits the position by birth or right. Okay, here are some questions that you're going to have to answer. How did the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates support agriculture? It was nice, federal soil. I'm thinking fertile soil. So the land between the Tigris and the Euphrates would support agriculture because it had fertile soil. How did the people of Mesopotamia cope with the lack of wood, stone, and metal in the region? They took what they had and they used it to its best extent, like the mud, and they would use it as much as possible through trade. What are the 5 traits of civilization? Transcript of 5 characteristics of civilization. A complex culture with 5 characteristics. All of these characteristics, such as advanced cities, complex institutions, record keeping, specialized workers, and advanced technology, make up a civilization. So, what are the 5 traits of a civilization? Advanced cities, complex institutions, record keeping, specialized workers, and advanced technology. What type of community developed in Sumer? It was a city-state. What did the Sumerians develop? Why did the Sumerians develop a system of writing, and how did it develop? They developed it so that they could keep track of trade. What are some common inventions with which the Sumerians are credited? The wheel, the plow, and a writing system. How did the new tools make life better for the Sumerians? Plowing made planting easier. What role did the Ziggurat play in Sumerian life? It was used for religious people. What were the social classes in Sumer? Who had the most power and who had the least power? The priests were the most powerful, then the king, then the soldier, then the farmer, then the slaves. Why were scribes highly respected in Sumer? Because they had a connection to the gods. And why were the kings and the priests in the highest class? Because they were believed to be closest to the gods.